Hey everybody, we're going to call this dish a cowboy rice something. I really don't know what to call it, but it's beef, rice, and cheese. You really can't go wrong with that. So first off, let's start by chopping up a yellow onion. This dish definitely has a southwestern taste to it. It's going to have, of course, the beef as the main ingredient, the rice. It's got some southwest ingredients such as the cumin. It also has a couple of cans of the Rotell tomatoes with chilies. It's just a all-around hearty southwestern type dish. So we've said several times on this show, this is not the only way to slice an onion, but it works for me. Notice how my fingertips are curled back, so there's no chance of cutting off my fingertips. I'm very much attached to them and would like to keep them. So we're going to slice this onion and just set it to the side. Now in the meantime, go ahead and get your favorite pan and put a little olive oil on that and heat that up to a medium high. We're going to cook our onions to their almost translucent. Go and spread that oil around. If you've got a really good non-stick pan, that always helps. Throw those onions in. Now we're not going to saute these until the point where they're caramelized. That would be a lot more heat. You need high heat for that, a lot more time to convert those sugars. This is just cooking the onions. Throw in a little pinch of kosher salt. Nothing complicated here, just to give those a little stir and just let them cook for about 4 or 5 minutes. Nothing complicated, pretty basic. Now we're going to add 1 tube of what Walmart calls ground beef. I'm sure it comes from a cow, but I probably don't want to know what part of the cow it comes from. These tubes are very inexpensive, and I usually keep some in the freezer just as a go-to if I need, because there's so much you can do with ground beef. So had that thaw almost, and now I'm just going to add it to the pan. Pretty basic here, onions, ground beef, cook it till it's done. Now here you can see me reverting back to my bachelor's day where everything involves a red Solo cup. I am attempting to take some of this grease out and put in a red Solo cup to throw away so I don't clog my drains. People, do not do this. This was a stupid idea. I melted the cup. I had grease run all over my stove. This doesn't work, folks. But it looks kind of cool. So there you go. Again, this channel is about learning and trying new things and sharing with everybody what I found that works, what I found that doesn't. This is one of those things that just seemed like a good idea at the time. It's not. Now add 1 cup of plain old regular rice to your pan. This is how the original recipe calls to do it. Put it to the side, and that way you can sort of stir it up and basically get that little bit of fried shell thing going. And then when we cook the rice in our pan, there goes a couple of cans of Rotell tomatoes, tons of flavor there. If I did this recipe again, which I probably will, go ahead and add about a cup of corn too. I would not cook the rice this way. It took way too long in a pan. I would cook it in a pot, the way you normally cook rice or a rice cooker, and add it later. Here goes a can of drained black beans. Hence, that is drained. And some chicken broth. Now, the original recipe asked for about a cup. It took a lot more than this to cook the rice. So if you cook the rice separately, well, 2 cups maybe. If you cook the rice separately, you probably won't have to add as much. Now, doesn't that look colorful? Kind of pretty. The corn's still frozen, but it will thaw. Don't worry about that. Now, just gently stir that up. This had to cook for close to an hour, I guess, because of the rice needed that long. Again, I would cook the rice separately. It would make it a lot easier. And just let it simmer. We probably will have to add more chicken broth if you do it this way, and that's all right. We're just going to let these flavors meld together. Now, I will say, if you're looking for a dish that's inexpensive, that feeds a lot of people, this is a good one. Makes a lot of food. It's hearty. It's got a lot of flavor to it. Can't really say enough good things about it, and it's covered in cheese. So, meat and cheese. How could you possibly go wrong with that? Now, for our flavor, that's not already in the natural ingredients, we're going to add some spices here. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of cumin. Cumin gives it that real earthy flavor, very southwesterny taste, and of course chili powder is the quintessential Southwest flavor. So a tablespoon of chili powder, mix that up, let it all cook together, and when your rice is done, an hour later, if you did it like I did, we're going to add some cheese to the top, let it melt and serve, and it's absolutely delicious. I hope you guys try this one. So after our rice is finally cooked, we're going to add a couple of handfuls of your favorite cheese. This is, actually, I don't remember what it was. Fiesta blend maybe, cheddar maybe, and cooking is about what you have in the refrigerator. So just a couple of handfuls of cheese and let this melt on top. At this point, this should be down on a simmer, and it's going to take, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes or so. And you can see the cheese to start to melt here. All we're doing is melting it, and everything else is already cooked. And now we serve some beefy, cheesy goodness. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one.